Welcome back to Attorneys on Call. Whitney Powers and Ben Whitley from the Whitley Law Firm are here. And Whitney, before that last break, you were talking a little bit about some of the cases that you're currently working on. These involve hip replacements and then also a blanket, right, that they use for orthopedic patients.
That's right. So, the last segment we talked a lot about insurance and protecting yourself, situations where you might not need a lawyer. If you've had a hip replacement that's a metal on metal and has required a revision surgery, you most definitely need a lawyer. There's no way you can protect yourself with these. The cases are centralized kind of in one state or one federal court, and it's a lot to navigate for any one person.
Okay.
So specifically, we're talking about one of the final metal-on-metal hip implants to be recalled from the market. It's the Smith & Nephew Birmingham resurfacing.
Mm-hmm.
So your femoral stem, the head, they resurface it with a smooth metal covering and place a metal socket in the joint so that it articulates like the normal hip joint, but it's a metal-on-metal component. And metal ions are released in the bloodstream. It causes an inflammatory response, and then in the worst circumstances cause one or multiple revision surgeries to take that implant out and replace it. So it was recalled in the fall of 2015, but we're still seeing patients who had it implanted between 2004 and 2015 when it was on the market, and the device is continuing to fail. And it's really pretty terrible. The smaller sizes, there's 12 different cup sizes of the product. The smaller sizes fail at a higher rate than the larger sizes, meaning that that's affecting a lot of women disproportionately.
Okay.
And so one revision, they're kind of knocked down and then trying to bounce back. Some of our clients are still a year, 2 years after having trouble walking with mobility and with the pain management because of having to undergo another total hip replacement.
So if you're watching this program right now, you may have had one of those hip replacements. You can call the Whitley Law Firm, the 800 number, go to whitleylawfirm.com, and it's always a free conversation to get some information. And that's what you're advocating right now, is just call us and we can help you navigate through this, and we'll give you some free information about what to do.
That's absolutely right. And I've taken a couple of calls over the last week where folks are saying, I don't want to be a part of a class action. This has been so important to me that I want my case to stand alone, and the cases do stand alone. They're all centralized in Maryland in the Birmingham hip implant cases, but it's your case that you're in control of. It just makes a lot of sense for judicial efficiency and resource management that they're all grouped in front of one federal court judge. Individual cases filed, but one judge overseeing them because you've got the one common defendant, Smith & Nephew. What
are you hearing from the clients that you're working with about the problems that they've been experiencing?
So one of the first clients that I met with, and this was close to my heart because I was a tennis player growing up. He was an avid tennis player a couple times a week. He actually coached a local high school, and the reason that he had the Birmingham resurfacing, it was marketed to patients as doctors as being more able to allow you to continue an active lifestyle. So it's used in younger patients, 40s and 50s, who arthritis or injury has caused the hip to break down. They're saying you get this resurfacing, you're back out on the tennis court a couple times a week, and he's had to give up tennis completely. He has trouble walking now. And his cobalt and chromium levels, so the metal surfaces articulating on each other, they release metal ions in the body, and his metal levels were so high he's got a plethora of other health issues that are really pretty horrible.
I actually have a friend who has experienced this, and she has been told by her doctors of a metal toxicity in her blood, and it goes to your brain. Ben, is this a case of where we see these companies, they put profits before people?
Right, and in something like this where there was ways that they maneuvered around FDA approval, and those are the things that I think are really important for folks to know, is that we're not, this is about the manufacturer. These issues, we're not going to be suing the doctors or anyone else locally that may have been helping you with your recovery. This is about holding the manufacturers accountable, and the claims are not class actions. These are claims against the manufacturer. Whitney is on a leadership position. She's involved in these cases nationally. We've got a team of great lawyers that are involved out in other parts of the country. So when you're hiring us, you're hiring a big team, a nationally recognized team, and we're going to put it to them, and we're going to try to hold these people accountable for what they've done.
Whitney, tell us about this other situation with these blankets. Explain what these are and how they're used and what's going on with these.
So it's manufactured by 3M, and it's called the bair-hugger warming blanket. And in your medical records, there will actually be a notation of basically things used during the surgery, and it'll say bair-hugger. It's a warming blanket that's a single use. They cover the patient's body with it because it's generally pretty well recognized that keeping a patient's body temperature up during surgery has positive effects, right?
Okay.
So it circulates air underneath the blanket to try to keep the body temperature up, but it ends up sucking air from under the operating table. It's alleged that it sucks the air under the operating table that's not sterile, and then that can make its way into the knee or the hip replacement that's being, so MRSA, staph infections are finding their way into the joint. And what happens is a really deep bone infection that can require, so let's say you've got a hip replacement that's fine, an infection gets in there that requires surgeries to clean the infection out and months of antibiotic treatment.
Oh, man.
So it kind of goes hand in hand with what happens during the surgery process, and those lawsuits are being pursued in Minnesota as part of an MDL. So individual lawsuits, filed on behalf of folks who have been injured by it, but it's a really pretty bad infection that can result during the course of the orthopedic surgery.
So we do want to mention that Bob Whitley, who founded this firm, has written a new book called Attorney on Call, Lessons from a Life in the Law, and it's free. You can call the 800 number, go to the whitleylawfirm.com website, and we will send you a free copy signed by Bob. Ben, tell us a little bit. We just have about 45 seconds left.
Right.
Tell us about this book.
The great thing to know about it, Drew, is it's free, and my dad will send you an autographed copy. These are stories that we all have heard as lawyers in the firm for a long time. He's put them in, but he's also weaved in some good information about what you need to know about car accidents, workers' comp, insurance, and how to protect yourself and how to hire lawyers. So I would encourage anyone that has a situation or has a family member situation, call the number and get your free copy of that book.
Bob Whitley, more than 40 years practicing law in the state of North Carolina, has written this book, Attorney on Call, Lessons from a Life in the Law. As Ben mentioned, it is free. You just have to call the 800 number or go to the website, and Bob will sign a copy and send it right to you. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Attorneys on Call. We'll see you next time right here. Have a great night.